Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 176 of the Sporting160EN podcast. Before we get into anything, I'm once again reminding you to enter the giveaway that we have going for a sporting jersey of your choice from Loja Verde. We'll get it up on screen in a minute, but all you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, take a screenshot of it with your phone, on your PC, anything. We're not going to discriminate of what you use. But as long as you prove that you're subscribed to us and you could be in a chance of winning a sporting jersey from this season from Loja Verde. And if you are outside Portugal, we'll also cover shipping costs and everything like that, so you won't have to worry. But anyway, before I get too ahead of myself, let me introduce you to my co-host. First, we've got the main man from Canada, snowed under at the moment, unfortunately, is Rich. Yeah. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. We got hit with just an absolute storm over the last 18 hours, but other than that, I'm good. We got a win, so that warmed the spirits quite brightly today.
Definitely. And my man Chris, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I thoroughly enjoyed today's performance, from the display in the stands to the padded jacket boys to pot heroics to pot 2 dropping 2 9.0 plus performances since the last time we spoke. Pot and Fuego. I mean, I didn't think that this game would be as easy as it ended up being today. They're fresh off a 4-0 win for their league campaign. You know, they seem to be trending up. Not sure how it would go, but they got sent down to 10 men. We clearly outplayed them, and yeah, man. Let's see who we draw now. I guess we're playing with house money now at this point, you know?
Yeah, facts. And I'm your host, Sam Fonseca. Also, don't forget to follow my man Danny as well. And also just shout out to Steph. Doesn't have social media, but shout out to Steph because he's the big boss man. But anyway, let's get on to the topic at hand, which is the demolition in Denmark against Midtjylland, which we will cover. And it was a 4-0 victory. And it was 5-1 on aggregate. I'll give you the lineup as followed. Is Edan in goal, St. Just, Coates, Inacio, Arthur Gomez at left wing back, Ricardo Esgaio, Ugarte, Morita, Pedro Gonçalves, Edwards, and Paulinho. Off the bench, we had Hector Bellerin, Mateus Fernandes, Trincao, Nuno Santos, and Tanlongo. Ugarte picked up a yellow card, which means he'll miss the game, whoever we draw in the round of 16, the first leg. But other than that, Pot scored 2 goals, an assist from Nuno Santos as well. But yeah, I'll start off with you, Richard. What were your overall thoughts on this game?
I wasn't confident going into this game. I think if you asked most Sporting fans, we weren't overly excited to watch this game based on the last performance we had against Midtjylland. We played great. Like, they never really threatened us. We got the goal somewhat early, which was good. I think that helped calm some of the nerves. And then, yeah, they never looked like threatening us. They went a man down. We went into the half. It was 1-0 going into the half. So all in all, you're like, okay, basically just coast along and not let them score. You should be fine because away goals mean nothing now, anyways. And then it was just kind of a bit of an onslaught. We got 1 goal and then another, and then the comical own goal. That was absolutely brutal. I actually missed that own goal, so I just multiple group chats just howling with laughter, and I messaged you guys like, "What happened? I missed it."
Yeah, the own goal didn't really add anything. The game already felt long over.
It was already done. It was 3. Yeah. That was the 4-0 goal. No, so like the game was already done. It was just like almost insult to injury for them, if anything. Yeah, Sam sent it to the chat, and I went, "Oh, that's bad." Yeah, no major standouts outside of Pot. Like, everybody played pretty well. It's good to see him kind of coming back on form because he's very much a streaky player, especially this last 6 months or so. He kind of scores in bunches, so let's hope he can kind of keep that up, at least in the Europa League. And yeah, we like Chris said, we're playing with house money now, so we'll kind of see who we're playing. Hopefully, we avoid the some of the sharks like Arsenal and the Spanish teams left. And I know a lot of people are kind of clamoring for Fenerbahce for the George Jesus reunion, which is kind of timely given recent news. So we'll kind of see what happens. But overall, a fun game. better than I think most people expected going in. I think some people were expecting us to make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, most definitely. I forgot to mention as well, Paulinho for their team got sent off.
Yeah, their Paulinho got sent off, not ours.
And they also have a version of Wish of Slimani called Selmani, I suppose.
Salmani.
So he's
also played
Pez,
striker.
He's Pez version when they don't get the license, Slimani. They just change a couple letters.
But yeah, Chris, what were your overall thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that we came out, dominated possession, imposed ourselves in the game right away. And yeah, I mean, it never really felt a doubt. Obviously, the first goal is a bit of a shithouse, but it's kind of a pressure goal. And then, Pot's second goal is brilliant. As long as it stayed, 1-0, 2-0, the longer it stayed, I guess it gave them theoretical chances because, I mean, they did have a couple, odds and ends moments. Kawats had a very, very bad looking attempted flick in the first half and they got through. And then as Gaio low-key saved the day on that one. The guy was kind of falling over already, but it was still a nice play. And yeah, I mean, I just never really felt a doubt, especially once they go down to 10 men. They never looked the part. And I guess it's kind of how it was in the first leg where we kind of dominated them, but never put them away. And then in the last 25 minutes or so, it allowed them to kind of build confidence and eventually kind of create something towards the end. But we put them away and they just never really were able to get anything going anyways. But plus, once you're looking at 3-4-0 and you're down a man and you barely reach the goal, it's demoralizing. So yeah, we definitely humbled them a bit. Nice win for the coefficient. Yeah, and let's see what we can do. Easy in this next round, more likely than not, Probably Fennec Varos is probably the weakest team. But
be them
outside
and
of that,
the Belgians probably Union.
I mean, we played them in preseason. They're second in the Belgian league. I think that I still think they're a decent side, Yeah, but
we're gonna get Arsenal with our luck
among the weaker teams on paper. But yeah, I mean, either of those Spanish teams, they're in the top 6 in Spain. Solid teams. Freiburg, third in Germany, solid team this year. It won't be easy.
Feyenoord's there as well.
Feyenoord as well. It feels like no matter who we get, it's not an impossible task, really. But not necessarily likely, but not impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so exciting. I think the draw is tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, 11 a.m. UK.
Or is it next Friday after the Champions League?
No, it's tomorrow. It's Europa League and Conference League tomorrow. Yeah, 11 a.m. my time. So I don't know what time that is.
It'd be early in the morning our
6 a.m.
Yeah.
It's AKA after I wake up and just see.
It's an hour before I'm usually up, so I'll have to just browse.
To be fair, I think its coverage starts at 11. They do all the pre-match stuff, and
true. It does take so long.
So it'll probably be more 11:30 or noon.
Either 11:30 or probably just 12 anyway.
I'm still just waking up.
I guess it is worth shouting out Adon slightly in this game. I thought he had a couple saves.
Yeah,
nothing too crazy, but he had to get his body in front of it a couple of times, which he did. Edwards missed a very, very one-on-one with no one within miles of him, and he went for the chip and just kind of got owned. I mean, not a great Paulinho game, I'll be honest. He's kind of invisible yet again. Even in the game where it's 4-0 and we're towards a lot of time is spent in their half. It's not a performance that leaves me remembering specific moments of his excellence. Let's just say that.
He didn't set the world on fire.
Even Arturo Gomes, I remember a couple of very nice runs down the wing, individual runs down the wing. That shit does not always work, but today it was working a little bit, I guess. So improvised left back Arturo Gomes with a decent performance in my opinion. St. Just, I'm gonna be honest, not a great game. Went for the flop about 4 times. Hilariously, was flopped on the second pot goal, and it's all right, bro, you can get up now. They scored. You don't have to appeal.
Yeah, everybody was celebrating St. Juice was their dad.
There's nothing even in it. Anyways, they showed the replay.
No, it was nothing.
Yeah, I thought Inacio actually was pretty good. Inacio and Coates, other than that weird one mistake by Coates, pretty solid. St. Juice, probably the weakest of the back line. And then, Esgaio.
He was fine. He didn't make any glaring mistakes.
I will say I thought Bellerin was pretty mid against Chaves, but in this game, I thought he added a little flair, a little bit of juice that Esgaio has zero juice, negative juice. Bellerin showed like 30% juice. So I'll take it. It's enough for me to say that he should start. He could take people on sometimes, get to the end line, get a cross in, blocked, but he's at least doing more than just passing it backwards.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'll say as well that I thought Ed was probably the weakest attacking player we had. I know you said Paulinho didn't do much, but when Paulinho's just there, like you said, he's invisible. But Edwards had so many times that I think he either lost the ball or, like we mentioned, he tried to chip like the world's tallest goalkeeper, which
Edwards was kind of a black
hole. He's a giant, by the way.
He was huge. He was like out of everything massive. To do. I understand he sort of probably went for like the highlight reel play in his head, and like that was the chip. But
he was
trying to get on he's trying to get on the Europa League Twitter account yet again.
He was trying to get the goal you see in like people player mixtapes, but the great Kali wasn't fucking that.
Yeah, I mean exactly. Ricardo's guy with a good game as well managed to get the guy sent off and then pick up a yellow card almost straight after. I think no, he did a really good defensive clearance, then got a yellow straight away.
Yeah, I don't know how much of the yellow card is on him versus just going in late when you're already on. I mean, the guy got sent off within 3 minutes. I think both of his yellows.
Yeah.
To be fair, the foul from Esgaio was harsh because he obviously did go for the ball, but the guys got there first, and it was just a clash. So I don't blame him too much, but I thought he had a solid game. I thought Artur had some good runs, but at the end of the day, end product really wasn't there for him. Like some of the crosses he was doing, he took some wild shots as well. But he's a lot
of flash, no substance, isn't he? That's the vibe I get from him.
But I also do think maybe because he's in that left wing back role anyway. Like he missed on so many headers as well. Like in the first 10 minutes, he got beat for every single header.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a position of him, but he played well enough. Morita was, for me, invisible. I thought he didn't. Really
he was invisible today.
That's the worst game he's had in a long time. Like he didn't do any. Not that he played horrendously bad. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, you could tell he was coming back from an injury because he didn't seem like match fit and up to scratch. So I won't blame him too much on that. And to Chris' point and Dan, like, yeah, he didn't concede, but there were some sketchy moments like where he could have just caught it. For some reason, he just slaps it away or punches it in the air. I'm just like, man, just catch it. I know you're probably confidence at all-time low, but just catch some of these balls, man. Because at the end of the day, some of the saves he made went for corners. And to be honest, it could have been, obviously it didn't happen, but it could have been a goal from a corner instead of just catching it.
Yeah, my expectations for him are basically any shot on target is likely to go in. So the fact that he had like
any shot on targets are worthy of a heart attack. Yeah, but Sam, he's only made like 2 mistakes all year.
He's only made 2 mistakes.
He's only made 2 mistakes all season, dude. Come on.
But no, just I think a special shout out goes to Pedro Gonçalves. He was absolutely incredible today. Didn't put a single foot wrong. He got lucky on some of the goals, I'll admit. But in terms of passing, distribution, dribbling, everything was there for him today. And finishing, yeah, like I said, some lucky goals. But at the end of the day, you've got to hit him. The commentator said to win the raffle, you've got to enter the draw. So I guess that's what he did.
It doesn't matter how you score; it's how many. At the end of the day, you just got to get a goal.
And like you said, comical own goal from their team.
That's the stuff of nightmares.
But yeah, the one thing I had that was quite annoying was the team selection. I don't think Artur Gomez was the way to go. Paulinho as well. It seems like they've signed Chimiti to a contract, and then they're like, "Now you signed, we're not going to play you. So we've got you under contract for the next 4 or 5 years." So and Mateus Fernandes was a weird one to come on, I thought as well, especially with Tanlongo being there. But I understand Tanlongo was also, if he got a yellow card, he probably would have been suspended for the next game as well. But when Mateus Fernandes came in, he wasn't the best. He misplaced some passes, but like we already had the game won by that point. It didn't matter. Would
He's
like to see more.
lucky not to get sent off as well. If his studs are up a little bit more on that one challenge, it's like you slow it down, you get there late, you catch the guy in the shin with your studs. It's like, bro, you're putting yourself in the lottery of getting sent off. Low key, I don't know. For anyone that was up late or early for the Portugal game, Anna Borsch from Sporting, about the 30th minute yesterday against Cameroon. Yeah, she went in with her studs and low-key caught the girl on her calf.
Yeah.
And there was a check, and I was like, yo, please.
Please don't.
It's honestly very fortunate because that could have seriously ruined the game, So, yeah, sketchy. But, yeah, I mean, I guess it's good to get minutes for those guys 4-0. I think we all kind of knew that it was pretty cooked at that point, Because, midfield of 10, Longo and Matheus Fernandes is pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a 3-0 game. You're at 4-0 game at that point. Like, it's gonna take it's gonna take an all-time epic collapse for you to blow the lead. Like, I think you're safe.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The game was already won, so I would have liked to see maybe more minutes from Diamante, from Fatawu, instead of maybe Nuno Santos. And I know he didn't bring up any centre backs, but maybe Nuno Santos could have had a full rest and given it to Fatawu. Or someone else, but
Diamante against his old team.
Oh yeah, exactly. This was I forgot that he was only on loan to Mafra.
Yeah, I forgot that as well. Even guys I don't know. I would like to see a guy like Luis Neto who's not played in 5 months now.
Is Luis Neto cleared to play though? Too, that's the thing. Because I don't know how long he's been back practicing. That's the thing.
I mean, if he's on the bench, you think he should be.
If he's cleared to play, then sure. But if he's not cleared to play,
has he not played? Why do I have a memory? He hasn't played since he's come back. He hasn't come off the bench at all.
I don't think he.
He's not played since I want to say October.
Oh yeah, but he's been on the bench a couple times now.
It was pre-Halloween. At the very least, pre-American Thanksgiving. It's the last time.
Okay, so he's been on the bench a couple times, but he hasn't played since.
Yeah,
he got hurt. And then had to get his kidney removed or whatever the
fuck. Get his lungs something through.
He's lung collapsed or something. He had some shit, man.
He had a knee injury and then his lung collapsed.
It was one of the. It's was this a correlation or causation thing? What the hell?
But the main one for me was that I would have loved seeing Jimiti get more game time, more minutes in this game. He could have done it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, any game, I think he's a candidate to start. He should be,
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame that he did.
That's also not your main gripe, Sam, because you're a big fan. You're the leader of the Roshinha fan club.
I was just about to say,
not
this
even
is a
on
topic,
the bench.
That's what I want to get into. So Jovan,
they brought his ass to Denmark, man,
for nothing. Just to
Norway.
My thing was, right, so he has Jovan Cabral on the bench, who he actively tried to get rid of in the winter. He was pretty much gone. He was gone to Deportivo, wherever he was going, Sporting160EN. I can't remember where it was now.
Valladolid?
That's the one.
That was Valladolid. Yeah. I just remember because Kyle Laird plays there, and I love that guy.
Yeah, they were trying to get rid of him. He was pretty much gone, and now the deal falls through, and for some reason, he's still on the bench over Roshinha. What's Roshinha got to do to... We had 3 centre-backs on the bench, if you count Matheus Reis as being a centre-back. Luis Neto, Diamante, Matheus Reis. Why not give Roshinha some minutes? I was speaking to, I want to say, I can't remember who it was, but I've got a few stats here of Roshinha's playing time this season when I find it. But it's
non-existent.
So yeah,
what playing time? He's played garbage minutes mostly when he has played.
In the league, he's had 12 appearances, but only 370 total minutes. 1 game in the Champions League with 17 minutes played in total. 2 games in the Allianz Cup, 33 minutes in total. 1 game with Taça de Portugal with 14 minutes in total.
He's played under 20 games. I'm surprised he's even got that many games, by the way. When you said 12 appearances in the league, that seemed high.
That is
I know it's not
it's all skewed very heavy towards the first half of the season. Or the first quarter.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Most definitely. And it's
he hasn't played in weeks.
We bought him in for 2 million.
Months, maybe.
And then he's just not playing. So whose idea was it to bring him in? And if so, and if it was Amorim's, why is he not playing?
Tested at had no center midfielders, and they were testing Rashinga and Pot in the middle.
Which was a wild time. God, yeah.
That was like December during the World Cup break.
That was like a toss of the league game, I'm pretty sure, yeah. That was one of like the 5-0 games of the toss of the league, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, I
don't even remember if they actually. I remember they did it in a scrimmage, but I don't know if they ever even did it in a real game.
I feel like they tried
maybe
it in a real game at some point, like once. Like they had to have.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the game in that Champions League game where he played for 17 minutes might have been against Marseille when Esgaio got sent off. Could be completely wrong and just made that up. But
the one in Lisboa when we got dick slapped the second time.
I want to say when this guy got sent off, or maybe when Adan got sent off.
Because the first one was Adan got sent off, and we threw poor Diogo Collide to the Wolves. Or no, we threw Franco Israel to the Wolves.
Yeah,
it might have been that second game because the second game is so much more of a blur to me than the
Which
first
one was first? The one in France or the one in
Portugal?
In
France, I think.
The one in France because there was that delay to the game because they got
they were late
because that was the game. That was the game where we had
delayed the game, but they still didn't get a proper warm up in.
Yeah, that was the game where we had a lead, could have gone up by 2, and then
how does that happen, man?
And then after the 15-minute dream start, it was just like we.
How are you late to the game, dude? I've never seen that, man.
Traffic, man.
And they delayed the game. They delayed kickoff like 10 minutes, but it really
longer.
It wasn't enough. Like I remember being like, "Yo, 2:45. Sporting's still not on the pitch yet." Like,
yeah, we were waiting.
2:48. Oh, they finally on the pitch for like 6 minutes. Oh my god, dude, that shit was crazy.
That was
man.
off. And we still had a shot too. We had a lead. We almost went up 2, and then it was just a disaster class of the highest order because we were on 6 points. That was our third game, and if we had won that, we would have basically been in. We would have needed a draw and like one more game. That would have been it.
I found the game. It was the 3-0 win against Frankfurt. He came on for Marcus Edwards, who was man of the match that game. He came in for the 17 minutes, but then didn't play another game in the Champions League. But I don't know, man. I something's fishy about it. I'm not saying it's a big conspiracy, but maybe he's not in trading, or maybe he said something about Amorim or to Amorim, or maybe it's like Slimani situation. I don't know. I would just like more clarification on it from Ruben Amorim in a press conference or something.
Maybe maybe we're just laundering money with him, like how teams do for Morata. We're just doing it on a small scale.
I thought he was going to be kind of important.
They hyped him. Like they hyped his signing up like relatively high. Like
it was a very out of nowhere signing, from what I can remember. It was like literally 2 days before he signed. It was like, records saying that he might sign. The day after,
he was there.
Deal.
Yeah, it was a very kind of out of the blue signing for sure. But he got like a decent enough amount of fanfare where I'm like, okay, he's probably gonna have a bit of a role, like at least somewhat of a role on this team, more so than what we've seen at the very
non-existent role.
But he's got like no role.
The argument that I'm going to make is that Trincao has played game after game where he's been unimpressive. Edwards, less the case, but still some games that he's not been very impressive. I'm trying to think. Fatau is deployed as a left back. Artur Gomez, I've still not really impressed that much by. He had that one good game against Spurs, in my opinion. That was
he had that one good moment against Spurs. It wasn't even a good game. He had a good 5 minutes.
And I think we played Boavista after that, and I remember we lost, and he was awful.
Yeah.
So it's like, what more does Roshinha have to do? Surely, like, you just can't. Like, we were in a lot of competition, not anymore. But like with the Europa League, maybe there's more room for rotation. But I don't know. It's just weird to me. But
you might see him in some league games if they do go on a bit of a run in Europa League, because they might like if they're going on a run, surely you prioritize Europa League. So you might see him get at least some garbage minutes in some league games at this point. But that might be it.
You think so? But I'm just trying to think who would be ahead of him. Who's ahead of him currently in like the pecking order for Sporting? So obviously
everybody.
Edwards, Pedro Gonçalves, Trincao, even Nuno Santos as a winger, I would say. Artur Gomez, Fatau.
That's sick. You've named 6 people right now that are ahead of him.
Would we say Giovanni's ahead of him too? Probably at this point.
So he's got 7 guys that he either need to get hurt, get hit by a bus, or kill the coach's dog or something in order for him to get.
If this was
ahead of the depth
COVID
chart.
era, he'd be lucky if like when the whole squad was out with COVID for like 10 days, and he might have actually
When the team got ravaged by COVID, he might get like 5 minutes as a sub.
Yeah, but no, I just want to know what's happened to him. I just want some clarification from Amorim. Wherever we get that on, it's another story.
If every winger got hit by a bus, he might be in for a shot to come in as a sub.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all going to have the same man of the match, but I'll ask you guys anyway. Rich, who is your man of the match?
Oh, Pot. He's scored 2 goals. He's had a good couple weeks. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I guess Pot as well.
Yeah, and I'll go the same. The last thing I wanted to get onto this game before we move on was something that came up in the news in the last hour or so, and that was apparently a child was taken to hospital due to the flares. This is a record report, by the way. Was taken to hospital.
Yeah,
this is the second child in 2 weeks apparently that's been taken to the hospital. To be honest, Chris, this question was tailored for you. What are your thoughts on this record story? Just before you answer as well, there have been multiple people replying to that tweet that was made by I think Cabin Sport, and they're just saying they're at the game.
Bullshit.
No one got arrested.
Nothing happened.
No, a child.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds about right? It sounds about right for like one of these type of stories. You take a kind of real incident that sort of happened before, and then you put it onto here because people are like, oh, the narrative kind of is becoming the atmosphere outside of Alvalade is better than the atmosphere in Alvalade. So you got to try to nip that in the bud a little bit because that's not really a good narrative to be going around or to have exist. So yeah, if it's a fake story, it doesn't really surprise me. Looks great though. Looks fun. Honestly, lit caged, right? I think it was Beatriz, our friend Beatriz, tweeted it like they got the caged fans, which is the normal fan, the average traveling fan. In the caged area, flares, great time.
Yeah.
And then you've got the jacket boys, all in their matching uniform, jackets on, hats on, in their
it was like a bad version of the
seat.
Peaky Blinders.
It was like a bad version of like a flash mob.
That is Sporting right there. The two sides,
the
we
dichotomy, the duality of the club.
The caged flares and the jacket boys,
Yeah.
The jacket did look nice, to be fair.
It's a fire jacket.
It's a decent jacket. It's a decent jacket.
It's the duality of the club, isn't it?
Wearing it just looks ridiculous.
When you got 30 people all seated together in one cluster, if you had them spread out, it wouldn't look as noticeable. But because they're in one concentrated zone, you notice it.
I mean, it was hilarious. And they kept showing them. They showed them, I think, 3 times. The first time, I was like, there ain't no fucking way. Is that what I think it is?
Not.
Because I recognize that jacket from La Javert.
Yeah.
Because I'm psychotic like that, And
then
they show them again the second time. And then they're celebrating after the goal. And I was like, here's what I think.
I thought we had bought so many away tickets like Frankfurt did to Barca that we had our normal away section or what would be the normal away section.
But what were the chances they'd
and
all
then another
be
section.
wearing the same coat?
There's no that's no coincidence. That's not coincidence. That doesn't happen. That never happens unless they have unless someone in the WhatsApp was like, yo, it'd be funny as hell, guys. we all got a discount at Loja Verde. Let's go.
It's €70 coat. I mean, it's not a cheap coat. It's a nice coat,
If they're all working for the team and their executives, they get at least a 10% or an at cost discount at the Lion store.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think that they probably
every team does that.
Euros on their excursion. So yeah.
Yeah, every team. Like I worked in junior hockey, and every team gives their staff a discount of some sort. I'm sure they got it for cheap.
I mean, Sporting, if you want us to be corporate fans, I mean,
I'll sell out in a minute. I could use the money
for a free coat and an away day. I'm there,
and a ticket on the plane with the team and the same hotel.
Yeah, I'll become a plastic.
Usually what it
so
is.
Quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the main point of the story of the flare, like, I mean, obviously it could have happened. I wasn't there. Can't say.
There were a lot of flares. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but multiple people at the game refuted the report. So
yeah, and it happens to be exactly the same report that it was 2 weeks ago. It's like, who is throwing these flares
almost
at these
word
children?
for word? What lunatic goes to it? Like, I know there are some out there in every clock, not just ours. Like, around the world, there are some people that just take shit too far. But like,
there's just one guy who keeps going to the stadium just to throw flares at kids.
Yeah, there's one lunatic who's like, fuck them kids. Like, there's no way this happened exactly the same manner twice within a matter of like a week or 2 weeks. There's no way.
But yeah, like, I mean, every time I'm watching a away game of Sporting, and there are some people that say, oh, the ultras don't go to games anymore because, you know, they get their tickets full price, they don't get it cheaper like they used to, or something like that, something or other. And it's like, but they'll fly halfway across the world to watch a game, to sing all day in the freezing cold. I think it was like 4 degrees out there, if not colder, with flares and stuff, and they were singing all the time. It's obviously not because of they have to pay money. It's because obviously the disconnect from verandas.
There is there is a big disconnect between the administration and I don't even think it's just the clock. I think it's a lot of the average match going fans now too. I think there's just a massive disconnect and there's just no want or need to want to repair that relationship, which is too bad. And look, I'm not agreeing with everything. I think sometimes people do take shit too far in the clocks. I think that happens in every club. But like, there's a way around that, which is, look, we're gonna let you do your shit, let you have your banners, but if you're gonna take shit too far, if you're gonna throw stuff on the field, if you're gonna get into a fight, if you're gonna rip up, if you're gonna go away games and to rip up opposing stadium seats, you're not allowed at the games. That's all you need to do. It's easier than what they want to make it, but they have no want to make it easy on themselves, it seems.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's a topic we can dedicate a whole podcast to, but we unfortunately do have to move on.
We got stuff to get to.
The next game, which was on Monday, and that was a 3-2 victory against Chaves. And the lineup is as followed when I put it on screen. So we had a Downing goal, 2 mistake Downing goal, another mistake in this game, so I guess the tally's up to 3.
Well, he made a mistake, and no, he's up to 4 or 5 at least this season, right? Like, surely
double digits at this point.
We gotta have like a graphic on the show, like a down mistake tally, and just a check mark every time he makes.
I mean, bro, he tried to dribble out his back once and lost the ball.
Yeah, that was not good. That was less than ideal.
I'll be real. I can't remember if it was this Chaves game or maybe the one before it's Midtjylland. I literally went on V Sports and watched highlights of every video, and I screen recorded every single mistake that he made. And like, it took me a while, and I was like, I can post this on TikTok. And I remembered copyright is a thing. So
you might get taken for a copyright. Don't put it on this channel. We're so close to 1,000. You'll get us copyright strikes so quick.
But it's not even that. It's like, I've literally got these on my phone. I can't tweet them because last time I tweeted stuff, Sport TV took us down. So it's like, I've got these videos that I guess I could tweet it from, like, with the link to V Sport, the actual account. But yeah, there is literally, if you've got the time, if you've got like 10 minutes, just watch some of the highlights in the game. There's one, I can't remember what. So obviously there's a Marseille one, which is like the holy grail of
that's the peak of the mountaintop right there.
But there is like Chaves at home. There's a few mistakes he made, and I don't think there's one. There might have been one at Braga, but I don't know.
There's the Porto toss the Liga final for sure.
Yeah,
that has to be in there.
100%. And there are just so many games where he literally just kicks the ball to the opposition. They just score off that kick.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Link that to our group chat. Link that to our group chat after. I want to watch that.
I will. So a Downing goal, Diamonde making his starting debut for Sporting. Yeah. Coates, Gonzalo Inacio, Hector Bellerin, Nuno Santos, Ugarte, Pedro Gonzalez with another brace, Marcus Edwards, Trincao, and Paulinho. Off the bench, we had Morita, Arthur Gomez, St. Just, Chimiti, and Tanongo. To be the 3.8. I don't think I've seen a rating that low for Sporting in quite a while. But
not in the Champions League game. I think like a 0 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Oro got a 4 one time. Remember when he got sent off?
Yeah, he had a really bad one, that Clasico, where he did his best Luis Suarez.
And he got the handball, yeah.
Even that game, I think it was a Champions League game, actually.
Could have been last year, I think.
Maybe like the Man City Demolition when we got smoked at home, like, because like I feel like a lot of the goals came from his side of the pitch. But yeah, he definitely had he's had like 2 bad ones. The Porto game, definitely one of them. Where with the handball, which was the save of the game. By the way,
could put in at least a 3-point something in his famous Marseille game as well.
Yeah. Definitely. I'll fact check it in a minute. But
it was brutal.
But Chris, what were your overall thoughts on this Chaves game?
I mean, I guess sadly enough, it ended up being actually like a pretty entertaining game. Felt like it was over, wasted the penalty, then they scored. It was like, I mean, I think it's too late, and it ended up being too late. So in the end, it's not enough for Chaves, but I mean, really, really should have probably been, like a 4-1 win for us. And being a 1-goal win, but I guess it's still 3 points. I actually felt like very good about our offensive output in this game. I thought we generated a lot. I thought we were constantly dangerous. I mean, I guess we could talk about the pen. Obviously, the early goal helped calm things down. To me, it's definitely a bit of a dive, but at the same time, the Chaves goalie fully commits himself, doesn't get the ball. So it's not a decision that the VAR is probably ever going to change, especially after it's already been called. But like, there's very little in that, to be honest.
The penalty we got after, like towards the end, was definitely a penalty.
Yeah, that was definitely a penalty. I mean, to be honest, the Adan one is kind of an error. They probably shouldn't be scoring from 35 yards out like that. Bounces right in front of him, which makes it more difficult. But I mean, I think he's gotta have his goal covered from a range like that. It was in the corner, and it takes a difficult bounce. But he's a professional goalie. Definitely not the worst goal he's conceded, right? But
it's savable. It's savable, I think.
You'd like to see your keeper saving.
Yeah.
And they honestly, the second half or the first half, they showed life. Like this Chaves team they didn't just roll over at any point. They were constantly pressing. Adan actually did have a nice save, I think, before they ended up scoring. Again, he just gets his body in front there. It kind of hits his leg, but he makes himself big enough.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 of those actually. So I mean, 1.5 feels kind of unjustified. Paulinho hits the bar, which was very
on a wide open net too.
Very Paulinho moment on that one. Sadly,
he doesn't.
We go into half, eventually 1-1. Feels a bit hard done by that scoreline. And in the end, I think we're decisive enough, obviously, in the second half. Some nice goals again. But it's a game that we should have won by more. We didn't, but I guess they all count the same, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, most definitely. I just did some research and I found Adan's rating from that Marseille game was a 2.3. And then Israel off the bench was also a 3.4. So
legends.
Legendary. Combined, they barely get a passing grade.
To be fair, 2.3 for Adan in that game was also very
generous. Considering he screwed up monumentally on the 1 goal, and then he just was out no man's land on the when he got sent off. Like, that is being very generous with that 2.3.
Yeah, most definitely. Rich, what were your thoughts on this Chaves game?
I'll complain a bit. Chris is like, I don't want to complain. I'll complain a bit. Yeah, their 1-1 goal I thought was very much. It does take the bounce, and anytime I played keeper, anytime a ball bounces, it is going to be tougher to save. That being said, it still looked relatively savable. He could have done better. Paulinho missed an open net and hit the crossbar inexplicably, which was brutal. Like Chris said, going into the half, tied 1-1, and we say this every show. It feels unjustified. We feel like we should have a goal or another or two, and it's just we can't finish. We go into the second half, and credit to them, they put on some pressure too. They pressed hard, but we got the couple goals, and then we end up getting penalty gate 2.0. Except this time, Pot let Schmidt take the penalty, and he just completely did not take a great penalty. I'm sorry. I was really hoping he would score to just keep up the run of form and keep the confidence going. And it did not help. And in hindsight, Pot should have just taken it because it would have given him the lead. Would have given him a hat trick, actually. And it would have given him the lead at the time for top goal scorer in the league, which is the only thing.
He got guilted into it by result of the last incident, you know?
Nah, fuck it. Fuck them kids. Do it anyways. Be selfish. Michael Jordan didn't get good by coddling his teammates. He fought Steve Kerr.
They were trying to get Esgaio to take the last one. He was like,
nope.
Fuck it.
Nope. Sometimes you just got to say, look at me, I'm the captain here. Michael Jordan got into a fist fight.
I know his rationale last time. His rationale last time was that he's, in the scoring race, right? So
you're still in a scoring race.
You're still in it. Right?
The same rationale applies, except this time you can take the lead. You're not just playing to stay in it.
Giving up that penalty. Bruno Fernandes is not giving up that penalty. Bas Dost, I don't think is giving up that penalty.
Slimani wouldn't have given
Come on,
up
Pot.
his prime.
He showed that he had the killer instinct. I was defending him. I was saying, fuck his guy taking that
penalty.
Do it, yeah. You take that shit. But now they fucking guilt tripped him into it, and look what happened,
No, that's what we get. That's what they get. That's exactly what we got. We deserved on that one. He should have taken it. I'll die on this. I'll die on a lot of hills. This is one of them. He should have taken the penalty because that would have given him the hat trick, and he would have at least at that time had the lead for the scoring race. So yeah, it's he should have taken it, and then they scored, and they made it interesting, more interesting than I think it should have been. But a win's a win. We got 3 points. It changes almost nothing in the standings for us. I feel like we're gonna be saying that a lot the next couple months. Is
you just gotta watch Braga.
We got scoreboard. We got scoreboard. Watch Braga, which as the games start to dwindle, is going to become less and less relevant, anyways. I think because we can win all our games, but if they win all their games, nothing changes.
Yeah, facts. I won't say too much of what you guys said, but the Adam mistake was definitely another friendo for me. I feel like you said, professional goalkeeper should be saving that. And it just doesn't help, I suppose, with his confidence. Then Amorim to come out after the game saying, "Oh yeah, I think he said something like, oh, he gave us the thumbs up and said he was okay." And it's like, I will still trust him. It's like, how many points does this man have to cost you before you have to switch out goalkeepers? And randomly started calling up Diogo Carlai from the B team. Like he flew to Denmark today.
Yeah,
but again, didn't make the bench. So maybe they're looking at him to be a replacement. Usually that's a spot reserved for Andrea Paolo being the head cheerleader at away games. But it seems like he's disappeared as well. Where he doesn't even play for the B team. I'm pretty sure he's just there. He makes
he's just a warm body. Very, very healthy paycheck. I bet it's probably between like 200 and 400K a year. He's living a very nice life in Lisbon.
Good food, good weather, and he gets a front row seat to at the Alvalade. Like
he gets great tickets to see Sporting. He gets to go to the academy, train in top facilities. There's absolutely no pressure on him to do anything.
Yeah, he's living the dream. Like he's scamming the living. I got nothing against that. I respect the hustle or lack thereof.
People love him for that, but they hated Renan for doing the exact same thing. I'm just saying.
Because it didn't suit the narrative, though. Because we were dying for money.
Positive to the club. Andre Paolo has contributed literally nothing to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, Renan was on like 1.4 million a year, and this man's probably on like 200K.
Yeah, we could eat. I think that's the difference. People can kind of eat like 100K or 200K, but 1.4 million is a bit much.
At the end of the day, he didn't force anyone to give him the money. They just gave it to him.
He He didn't put a
Same
gun
thing
to
goes
anybody's
for all
head, I
those
don't
guys.
think.
Battaglia, Eduardo, Ilori, Renan.
Like
I mean, they didn't.
none of them have walked into their meetings with their. I'm assuming their agent and their representatives, one or many, and no one held a gun to anyone's head. I don't think. Like,
what's
Probably would have
crazy
heard
is
about it.
or we would have definitely come up in conversation or something at some point.
the craziness is the players Chris listed. Obviously, Elori is still here, Camacho is still here, Eduardo Enrique somehow is still here.
Still on the payroll. They're all like on loan or like in B team purgatory.
Making good money, man. Making good money. To just
making
chill.
more money than any of us.
Yeah.
Well, Camacho is the one
if you
going
can
strong
get it.
still.
Camacho's actually doing something, you know.
Where is Camacho? I forget.
Addis in Greece. Manager is
Greece,
Alan
yeah.
Pardew. So, and
I
they
like
also have
Purdy's coaching in Greece, man.
that team is crazy. Like
That's
in
wild.
FIFA 11, that team is they have like Jovinho. I think they have like Andre. I think it's Andre Gray is there.
They've
They
got
have some
like
really.
the FIFA 11 like jury ultimate team and career mode dream team.
No, it literally reminds me of like when you play Football Manager and you go to like the free agent tab and then like sort by like international caps and then just
start signing dudes.
But no, if you look at their team, they've actually got like some quite recognizable players over there.
They're like a decent named team in Greece. Like they're kind of like I don't want to say the Braga of Greece, but like I've always recognized more. They're like they played some European football. Like, they're not a horrible team. So they're an okay team in Greece. In a league that's pretty much just dominated by Olympiacos and sometimes like Panathinaikos and Athens. 6, there you go. Yeah, a league that's very much dominated by like 2 and 3 teams, kind of like ours. Like the fact that I know more than just the 2 or 3 teams says something about your team that I can name you.
But like looking at their team, so I'm just naming off a few players. They got Andre Gray, as I mentioned, Camacho, Jovinho, Juan Iturbe, who I believe used to play for Porto.
Juan Iturbe, yeah, he was a Porto guy. Juan Iturbe, Jesus.
A guy called Nicholas Nkulu as well. I think he used to play for Marseille at one point.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
He was a centre back. Chick Decore, who's another name that I recognise. There's a few guys there that like have played for some.
They got a mishmash of dudes by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's a very random and seems like very much an attacking team.
You get that in those like Greece, Turkey, like those kind of like almost Balkan leagues. You get that sometimes, just some random dudes on some teams where you're like, oh yeah, he's there.
Yeah, apparently they've got a rumor for Halilovic, who I want to say used to play for Barcelona. Yes, he was at Barcelona. Apparently he's going to join this soon. But anyway, back to the topic at hand.
We got stuff to talk about.
The Sporting Charge game.
Number 64 Camacho out there.
Number 64, did you say?
Yeah.
Damn. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so Adan made the mistake. Paulinho scored 2 offside goals, by the way, and like they were
he has to lead the league in offside goals. Surely, he's got more offside goals than he has goals. I think
they were like the only runs in the game he made to the back post that weren't to the front post, and they actually worked. And every time he was on sides, went to the front post.
Yeah.
But he literally goes front post every single time.
Every time he's looking for front post. It's unbelievable.
Man's addicted to the front post.
He's got a problem. He needs the front post like SpongeBob needs water. It's unbelievable. He just can't help himself.
But for me, this was a good Paulinho game. Got an assist and obviously got the penalty shout, which was very. After watching it back, is very very light touch. You could say it was given either way, but like I said, won the penalty, got an assist. Obviously, didn't score unfortunately, but Pedro Gonzalez will make up for that. He's been on fire recently. When you play him in the right position, and it was literally as soon as Trincao and Pot went up to the left, he scored twice. And like if you play him in the right position, he's going to do that. And last 2 games, got 4 goals. So, I mean,
these last couple games should solidify that he should stay in the wing and not centrally. I know it worked early on and when he was at Sporting that he was kind of the midfielder scoring all the goals, but I think the last little while cemented he should absolutely be a winger. Yeah,
most definitely. I thought Diamonde had an excellent game as well for a starting debut. I thought he was very good, very calm and composed in the ball. Inacio as well looked fantastic out there. Coates was just okay, as his usual self. Bellerin, like Chris said, has just been nothing a bit mid. He's just there, I suppose. He's not worse than this guy, but he doesn't do anything that much. He was
at the very least like a lateral move this game. Like, it wasn't anything special.
Yeah, and Artur Gomez, I guess, was a good sub. St. Just I like seeing get minutes, and he seems to be over the worst now. Knock on wood, obviously, and obviously any game Tanlongo gets in, I'm surprised he doesn't get a yellow card because it almost seems certain at this point. But he literally has played like 3 minutes or 4 minutes, like in like the end of the game. But we nearly made it more difficult on ourselves when they scored again. Like, luckily, it was literally one of the last kicks of the game. But
it also just wasn't helped because we had just missed a penalty. So like, don't tell me we're gonna blow this. I think that's why. If it was 4-1, it wouldn't have felt as bad. But because we had just missed a penalty and there was still some time left, it was like, oh shit. There is that chance.
But like, I felt bad for them. Obviously, I want Sporting to win, but obviously the penalty added like some more minutes on the extra time. And obviously the goal celebrations that they did as well. And then she just blew it as soon as 96 came, which was the original added time that was given anyway, which happens a lot in the Portuguese league. But
we're so sketchy with added time.
Like, the Chaves players didn't seem to complain, so I was like, okay, that works for me.
Where's Chaves in the table, anyways? Like, because
I think mid-table, right?
Yeah, because I feel like they're in mid-table purgatory where there's no consequence if you win or lose right now.
Yeah, I know they beat us at the start of the year.
So that was a horror game. They beat us. That's why I was nervous going to this game because I was like, we might lose this. We've already lost them once.
Let me check where they're on the table. They are currently in 10th with 26 points. So again, they're apparently 4 teams on 26 points: Boavista, Vizela, Chaves, and Portimonense. So, yeah, like I said,
you're in mid-table purgatory.
Yeah, the relegation place at the moment is Santa Clara on 15, Maritimo on 13, and Pacos de Ferreira.
Pac's went on a run since we slandered them. Since we slayed them on the show, Pac's been on a bit of a run. So
they have like 10 points since we talked about that because they had like
they've gone
ever since they got rid of Ilori, they've been winning games.
Ever since they fired Cesar Peixoto and then brought him back like a week later, they've been on a run. Yeah, but that's crazy because they were on pace to like be one of the all-time like worst teams, like statistically speaking. And
I mean, they're still going down. I think.
I think they probably go because it's the bottom two now, and then the third last goes to the playoff, right? Like they might still lose in the playoff. Like
at the moment, Santa Clara in the relegation playoffs, and they're 7 points behind Estoril, so it's still quite a decent gap to make up for. 2 wins and a draw, obviously, but
you need stuff to go your way too on the other end.
But yeah, I think we'll leave it there for this game. There's not really much else to speak about. It was a good game and a good result, 3 points.
Yeah.
Now, technically sporting related, technically not sporting related. We'll go on to.
Oh, it's sporting related because there's some conspiracies about. There are some conspiracies afoot. We got to get into them.
We'll move on to the Benfica wiretap scandal.
Yep.
So there is a lot to cover. But basically, one of the main ones is when I believe 2017-18 season, just after. Was it just before Alcochete? Maybe
it was before Alcochete, I believe. All this started to happen.
So they criticized Sandro. Was it Sandro Cruz? No, that's the guy who played with Chaves. What's the guy's name? I can't remember. The Morientes player.
Oh, so I know which guy you're talking about.
Alpha Semedo.
Alpha Semedo.
Alpha Semedo, because they ended up buying him, which was kind of the crux of this all. That's part of the story.
So they accused him of giving a deliberate handball to Benfica to get them a penalty, and then was brought back to Benfica, I think, exactly 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
The head of Benfica, who was a part of the emails and who played a scandal, got arrested and a suspended sentence for 2 years, I believe. So he's not actually serving any prison time.
I thought he was serving prison time. I thought he did have to still spend 2 years in jail.
Suspended sentence.
Well, gotta love the justice system, eh?
But yeah, and there's a whole lot of other things to cover. I will try, and I'm going to show the penalty shout because I think a 2-second clip won't get us copyrighted.
Dude,
I don't know. If you can find the still
image.
Image, I don't want a chance to sport. It will be on our asses.
The thing is, that's what I was going to say. It's actually images from Benfica TV, which was also like, but the thing is from TVI.
They'll absolutely fucking take us down.
Might be worse as far as
I might even be worse. I might be playing with more. That's like adding gasoline to the fire. I don't trust it.
Okay,
there's still images. There's still images, and like his hand is very much outstretched. Like it is like upon further inspection, you can't not think it's at least a little sus. Like there's no that you got to think it's a little bit like suspicious now upon seeing it and hearing what we're hearing.
It's not something that's suspicious in real time, but it's like if other things lead you to go looking back at it.
Now you're like, hang on.
It's
it
like,
makes you
interesting. Yeah, like I remember the the Rio Ave Benfica game from I think 2017-18 was called into question, the right back, and I think Cassio the goalie. And then you look back on a couple of the moments and you're like, maybe he does kind of just let it go past him, I don't know. 15, 16, between like 2015 and 2018, Benfica was popping off. They did a lot to ensure that Bruno Carvalho's Sporting didn't succeed. And ultimately it worked. I think the biggest mistake Bruno Carvalho ever made was Jorge Jesus, who literally my man was a double agent, to be honest.
He was a sleeper. He was a sleeper terrorist sleeper self. I think
his deceased father would be ashamed, especially when he invoked him.
Oh my god!
Remember when he was crying? Remember when he was crying when he came back to Sporting and he said he was going to honor his father at Sporting?
Oh,
that's why he had to come back.
Is
this what your father would have wanted, man? Your father would have wanted a double agent. No, he would have been sad.
Well, because there was also the texts that came out, and apparently he had texted. I don't know if it was before the toss, like the final toss, but there was text.
No, it was before it was the second to last game of the season.
It was before the derby.
Realistically, it was 14, 15 days before Alcochete itself.
Yeah, so it was a couple weeks before the Alcochete attacks, and there was an exchange of words between him and then president of Benfica.
And that's the only exchange that we know about. There was multiple exchanges and there was multiple meetings.
Yes. So there was a text exchange or a series of text exchange between him and now disgraced, but then revered President Luis Felipe Vieira, Benfica. And the quote from Jorge Jesus was something along the lines of, we know more asleep than they do awake, or we see more when we're sleeping than they do when they're awake, or something. I'm paraphrasing the not great English Portuguese to English translation. It translates better in Portuguese. I don't have the exact quote, but it was just like very, very interesting and very, very conspiratorial timing. So there was definitely some conspiracy theories abound when we started seeing that come out. That was where kind of the sexy bits of news really came from.
I think what's crazy about it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that at the end of the day, this game didn't matter because obviously we lost to Maritimo with the Rui Patricio making an absolute howler. So they didn't even need to pay.
They wasted their money probably.
But I'm not gonna lie. It seems like we have this discussion every year that new evidence comes out against Benfica. It makes the news for a week, and then it just goes and disappears, and nothing happens to Benfica. And it feels like it's just going to be more of the same, to be honest. But what is crazy is, like you mentioned about Jorge Jesus speaking to Felipe Vieira before the Lisbon derby and the Alcochete attacks. It makes it so much crazier that Varandas ordered him back at Sporting after all that. When he
remember the Varandas Jorge Jesus meeting as well.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he had that meeting with
Jorge Jesus after the Atletico game. Already had one foot out the door. Like, I'm convinced.
I said this before. I'll say it again. I think that you're kind of seeing like a bit of that conflict recently, right? It's come to light. People are finally kind of like, what the fuck is going on? The stadium is empty. The pavilion is empty. What is really going on at my club? The results are dropping.
It's magnified because we've had such a rapid ascent and descent, right?
There are more people kind of saying that now, and I think that our club can never move forward, can never fully get back to the level that we once were at, get the connection to the fans until these events that went down in 2018 and even a bit before to that, but specifically 2018 are answers for it, because a lot of the people that were involved and went down are still very much a part of the club, important people in the club. And the club was never able to get past that.
No, we've never been able to.
We were never able to get past it because we never got answers for it. The truth, it slowly trickled out, but we still don't know everything. We
don't know who left the gates, who unlocked the gates.
We still at best only know half. We could kind of make inferences about some things at this point. There's a lot of connections that you can kind of piece together, but the club just has never been able to move past that because it was never fully accounted for.
It was never dealt with. It was never fully dealt.
Yeah.
It's never been fully dealt with, I should say.
And you're seeing the results of a club 5 years later, which still is haunted by never being able to answer things that went on. And that is literally why that's what started the war on the clocks. That is the root of where all of it comes from. Was never getting answers in 2018. I hope that one day we do, so we can finally move forward because we're frozen in time almost,
Well, yeah, we're constantly stuck in this state of limbo where it's just kind of, it always kind of comes back to fucking Alcochete, and I'm tired of it. I think most fans we get it. It was stupid that it fucking happened. It should have never happened. For whatever reason, it happened. But the fact that we cannot move past it, that it always comes back to Alcochete, is just starting to drain on fans now. Where it's we get it. It was probably the dumbest, darkest day in the history of the club. We gotta move on at some point. We have to get on with our
January 6th.
We need to get on. It is. Storm the fucking academy.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Some dipshit didn't lock the door. All he had to do was close the fucking gate, and they didn't do that. One job. I hope whoever did that was fired, but they probably still work for the club.
You probably got a promotion.
They probably got a promo. Fernandez gave him a promo when he fucking came on. Oh, you're in charge. You're the reason I'm here. Double his pay. But that's the thing. We're never gonna move on and actually get on with our life. Bruno Carvalho's moved on with his life for the most part.
Yeah, it's to his credit.
He's a DJ, and I'm glad. It's good to know that he didn't orchestrate it. At least it seems that way, which is good because I think that would have been horrible for a multitude of reasons. But people are moving on with their lives, and I feel like the people within the club can't do the same.
Because here's the
guy who lost the
narrative
most.
Of Bruno Carvalho did Alcochete. 30% of Portuguese probably still think that or more.
Yeah. There's still people that think that, and that's the thing. He's the guy who lost the most from it. Arguably, has moved on and said, "Look, it's done. It's over with. It sucked that it happened, but I have a life to live. I'm not going to let it be the only thing I'm not going to let it run my life." And people within the club, especially within this administration and some within the fan base, they can't move on. They don't want to get on with their fucking lives. And that's the problem. Move on. It's done. It's been 5 years. I was still in college when that happened. COVID was 2 years away from happening before Alcochete. We've gone through a global pandemic. And people are still but Sabs Alcochete on. Bro, get over it. More important stuff is going on.
Yeah, most definitely. I have two theories about that. One is a conspiracy theory I saw on Twitter. I cannot remember who sent it, but they basically said that Georgie has tried his hardest to overcome Benfica and tried in his first season properly with Sporting, where we dropped the top by 2 points. He was gunning to get revenge on them.
For their head because they didn't offer him a new contract.
And then he realized that he couldn't beat Benfica due to outside interference or something. He just realized he couldn't do it, so he just gave up. And that's one of the conspiracies.
I'm shocked that he never knew that before.
I think he did. I think he didn't know it, but he tried to overcome it and tried to make it.
Or he just didn't know it. Or he just didn't know it to the extent that it maybe was going on. At the time,
because he benefited from it, so he very much knew what was up.
Yeah.
I guess he thought he could overcome it still. Yeah. And he nearly did, right? But here's the thing.
2 points away.
Here's the Brian Ruiz people, right? If you're a Brian Ruiz dead ender,
We lost the league before that game.
In the 4-0 game against Braga, like they don't let Sporting win that title.
Yeah.
Whatever needs to be done. Like it would have been something else. There were still a couple games after that. Like something else would have happened. They would have bought the ref of the Moreirense game or something. Like it wouldn't. Ultimate outcome would have been the same if Sporting would have won that game 1-0. It would have made it much more difficult, and maybe their plan would have only had a 70% chance of working. But the way that things worked out,
we also didn't help we had an epic collapse too. We shared blame as a club because they blew multiple points heading into that game. They were still a point ahead going into that derby game, and they blew points left and right going into that game to cut what was at least a 2-game cushion.
Remember when Renato Sanchez could have easily been sent off in that Benfica Sporting game. I mean, it just I think that title wasn't for Sporting. No matter what needed to happen, that title wasn't for Sporting, And that's how I, live at peace with it,
It was just I just think I always just live under the assumption we're a cursed fucking club and stupid shit happens to us because of that. Somebody put a Bella Gutman hex on us back in the day that we don't know about. That's it.
Yeah, but for me with that Brian Ruiz thing, it's we lost points to Nacional de Madeira, who were bottom of the league.
We lost points to Guimarães the week before. We shot ourselves in the foot at times too.
Obviously, Brian Ruiz's moment is also
it was the culmination of the collapse because it was the derby game.
Yeah,
it was the climax of the horror film.
But it's also the symbol of giving the title to Benfica because he missed it, and I guess it's the symbolism on that aspect as well.
Yeah.
But I still don't blame Brian Ruiz. Literally up until that moment, he was one of the greatest players I've ever seen in a Sporting shirt. He was that good, and then literally you could see the confidence drop from that point. That Simpsons video is where his heart broke. That's literally
he was a scapegoat for a lot of larger issues. That was the unfortunate thing, I think.
I did actually want to ask Bruno when he was on the show what he thought of Brian Ruiz, because I really wanted to know what he thought of him and that moment. But obviously we didn't get into it because there was a lot of talk.
He went on a 45-minute monologue when you asked him how he was doing. How's your day, Bruno? Oh, and then he went.
Yeah. But the other thing I had as well was when we were speaking about clacks and fans and stuff. The perfect moment to bring it all together, where he could have allowed them back in the stadium, was after we won the league title, when we were having fans back. Literally, as if we won the league title, when he came out and did the speech and was like, I've done this, and it took people ages to do this. He spoke about rivals, speak about anything. He literally could have said, you know what, I want to unite Sporting. Let's get the ultras back in. Let's get the fans back in.
It would have been such a slam dunk for him too. It would have been such a good it's such an easy PR move to make because they even wanted to allow fans back the last game of the season, and then they poo-pooed that idea very quick. Not the club, the league and the health authority said no. We don't want to chance it still. But he could have easily as we were starting to allow crowds back, I'm going to extend a bit of an olive branch and say, look, I want you guys there. I want some of the atmosphere back. Here's some ground rules. You can't start fights, you can't throw stuff on the field, but you can still be there. I still want you making noise.
Well, Rich, you can't do those things. What's the point in going?
Yeah, I mean, they were also backing Cartão de Adepto at every turn.
Yeah.
It's been a complete and utter failure. It's bureaucratic stuff like that too,
Yeah. It's too bad because it would have been such an easy PR slam dunk, and people would have. I think that would have finally, at least we were talking about a few minutes ago, it would have kind of buried a bit of the Alcochete past in the past, and we would have been.
Sadly, there's no shortage of PR. The media is very. The way that it currently is, the relationship between Record and Sporting, it's always existed, but the way that it is now it's really the first time it's ever just been unanimous. They have all those big media on lock. There's not going to be any exposés or anything like that. Getting published a lot, and their narrative is going to be projected very evidently. For example, this Flair story is the perfect example of just a story that is perfect for their narrative, that like Rick Gordon would get the scoop of this story.
Well, it's been the sporting paper for God knows how long.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The
but the
unofficial
relationship
sporting
now is
paper.
like it might as well just be the club's.
It might as well be
spokesperson.
our journal. It might as well just say be all sporting on the kappa. Like,
yeah, but also to give like a context of how long this season has been, even though we're not even finished it yet. We had all apparently. I was gonna say we had all the clacks in the stadiums for like 2 games or 1 game, and then there was a fight with the police, and then straight away there were no more clacks in the stadium. It literally lasted like 1 game. And that was this season. It feels like 2 seasons ago.
It was like pre-Christmas, I think that happened or something, where one idiot started something, and then the police were like, "Screw it, everyone!" It was like semi-pro.
Sent by
everybody
the direction, sent by the board.
Like one guy or whoever was being a bit of a knob, but then they were like, "All right, just hit everybody, just start a fight or a brawl in the stands."
Yeah, and I remember the police were knocking over people like on crutches and stuff. They just not give a shit.
They pushed like there's like a clip of them pushing like an elderly woman. And like there's a clip of them like pushing over like a kid. Like there's something brutal. Is there not?
I think that the infighting is sad.
Yeah.
Amongst the clocks, but I mean at the same time they're
the reason we have like 4
fail.
clocks is because there was always infighting too.
They're constantly upended by the club at every step. So it's not shocking that there is no sense of union amongst them, because there's no sense of union amongst anyone in our world right now, sadly.
Yeah.
It's also like the reason we have like 4 clocks is because like there was infighting amongst them before.
I know, but there's been peace. They all moved to the Court of Azul. That lasted
3 years,
7 years, 6 years, roughly.
Oh, was it that long? I didn't feel.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the the Premier League 2014. They all returned to the Court of Azul, and then COVID and
I always remember them being like 2 on one and 2 on another.
Killed that. So yeah, I mean the peak of the stadium was like 2015 as far as like atmosphere.
It was like between 2015 and like 2018.
Yeah.
Because we were constantly doing like 35 to 45K, depending on.
I'm not gonna say that there was never any disputes amongst the clocks in those days. I'm not gonna paint the rosiest picture of the past, but like there was more union than there is now, which is like basically none.
Well, there's none now, so it's not. It's like the bar's on the floor, essentially. But yeah, you're not wrong. I forgot it was that long they were on Court of Azul, because I remember for years growing up, you could see on TV it'd have like Jubileo and I think Diretivo on one side, and then it was like Bancada or whatever the fuck on another side. Like it was like 2 on one end and 2 on another end, and then I didn't think it was that long that they were all Court of Azul. I forgot about that because it was also so long ago.
I think all the clash should have one massive fight to determine who the main clash is. And then
like Anchorman.
Just all, bro.
We need to get a Royal Rumble.
Most members and most gangsters.
We got 4 clocks. Everybody send your 10 best guys or gals or whoever.
Oh, okay.
10 best.
That would be more.
Everybody
fight your 10 biggest bosses.
Fights. We get all the big bosses. Everybody sends their Brock Lesnar's and their Undertakers and stuff, and they all just brawl. And the last one standing representing whatever clock. That's the clock. Or Jubileo or whatever. Actor clock.
Jubileo would win that 100%.
Jubileo's got all the hooligans. They absolutely would.
Yeah, if you could take the guys out of prison, who I don't even know if he's still in there.
Well, there's Mustafa's there, no, or whatever the hell. So he's
no, he's not in prison. No, he's at the game.
No, that's what I'm saying. Mustafa's free, so he's definitely going to be a contender to make a run in that match. Like, let's be honest here.
I've never been so scared of a man when I had to ask him for a picture. I was like, fucking hell. Like, this either he takes a picture of me or he just knocks me out. So I was like, I'll go for it.
I'm either getting a photo or I'm getting plastered.
I got the picture of him. It's on my Instagram somewhere and my Twitter as well. This is at the Spurs game, so he was allowed to fly. So Apparently,
Sam's
like no criminal record.
Sam was like, I'm either getting a photo or a trip to the hospital. Let's see what happens.
Well, it's because my dad was tapping him on the shoulder like 4 times. I was like, mate, relax. Like he's gonna turn around and just like
he's gonna deck you.
Right.
I was like,
like,
I don't know this guy. I don't know this man.
Yeah. But he was actually very nice when I spoke to him. And my dad spoke to him, and my dad's not the biggest fan of him anyway. He's not. Yeah. He's a very much a Verandas fan. My father, but
I don't really know what my dad thinks because he doesn't talk. That's the problem. I don't know what he thinks about all this. He just the only time we talk is like, well, you see those fucking loser performance today? Yeah, assholes, deadbeats. That's it. I don't really get his or my grandfather's thoughts on the inner machinations of this club.
Yeah, my whole family is like Verandas fans. And like, I mean, I think he's all right. Like, I'm not gonna.
We've had worse, but like, it could be so much better. It feels like he makes things intentionally hard on himself. He can't get out of his own way. But
my dad also just watches CMTV religiously. Like every time I go upstairs, and I'm like, that's where you get your knowledge from.
Like, we just get RTP, but like my dad's always reading, like my dad always reads he reads all the papers.
It's good, man. It's good that he doesn't get CMTV.
No, he only watches
RTP doesn't have all the answers.
Even that, like we used to get Seek through like Yarhar High Seas means back in the day, and like we'd get some of the stuff from like Seek International and stuff, but like I always see him reading like either he reads all his Renai speaker, he reads a ball, he reads a Jogo record, and he reads My Football as well. So I see him, he's getting his news from all over, he's covering all the bases.
Yeah, my dad is strictly a CMTV guy, and he watches it all the time. It's so like I got there sometimes, and it's just the same like 6 old men talking exactly the same thing.
We're at the trio of the talk house.
They go for hours. I don't understand. How do you have so much to talk about?
I wish we got the one where it was I think it was Seek, and it's the porno guy like almost coming across the table to fight the Benfica guy.
Was it the Maizum one?
Digoum.
That's the one, yeah.
That clip went viral in Canada, by the way. That made Canadian like sports television.
And UK. That went
viral. And people were like, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, I knew what they were talking about, but I'm like, he was almost like over his table ready to fight that man.
There's just on the topic before we move on, like speaking of viral clips, I was watching like an old YouTube. It was like a channel that used to be on like Sky for us, which is like our main like cable provider.
Yeah,
and it was basically like recapping like the world. And there was this one from 2016 or 2017. There's the guy that Alvalade, who's when Sporting TV or any cameras, he literally is just in the background staring at the camera, and he always just tries. Yeah. And like I was just watching it, and like the guy introduced it as like just this guy on camera. I was like, holy shit, I recognize him.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's hilarious.
He's like an older guy.
Yeah, this made like English, like a news channel. Yeah. Like, what the hell? And it was obviously like taking the piss out of him for literally just staring at the camera the whole time.
Yeah, for sure.
And like when I was, what was I watching the other day? I think it might have been Sick or something like that. And he was still there. So like 6-7 years later. He's literally always behind, like just staring. Like when they give him like the interviews, as like the fans walk past, he's always just there, always there.
I respect the commitment to the cause. I gotta respect the grind. That's
literally, he goes to like every game, and like he's always just in the background of the camera. I don't know the guy's name.
I feel like every team has some version of that. Like whether it's like football, hockey, basketball, like every team has like that one fan you always see him. Like that's the guy.
Yeah, but let's move on. We'll wrap up in a bit here as well. So just congratulations to the Portuguese women's national team making the World Cup. Chris, you said you were up at that time to watch it.
I was very nervous that it was going to go to extra time because I was fading. But luckily conceded in the 89th, got a penalty in the 92nd. And ended up winning. So
Chris was
sending texts and Sam was like,
Chris was sending texts and Sam was like, "Bro, go to bed. I'm going to work."
Again, if we get to that overlap period, if Sam is awake and I'm awake at night, it's trouble. Same goes for the other way around.
Bro, I was asleep.
And if Sam is awake for the next day and I'm still up, trouble.
Yeah, if one of us is still up in a
when we overlap late at night, it's a bad sign.
It's not a good sign.
Yeah, I was in the office and I was already working by like half an hour. I saw Chris Mitchell's like, Chris, like, go to sleep, man.
My dude.
Yeah, it was like almost 4.
I got up for work at like 7. I checked my phone really quickly before I went for the 15-minute drive, and I was like, bro, like, credit to you for staying up, because you said you weren't going to stay up for it.
Got it done. They got the job done.
You did. You grinded.
And now they're in the same group as the U.S. women's national team.
They got a group of. They got a
very difficult group. Netherlands is very good. U.S. women's national team is very good, and then I think Vietnam. So Vietnam's probably the weakest team, but the European, one of the best teams in Europe, and then one of the best teams in the world. So we'll see.
The reigning world champions, no? So
yeah, and the reigning world champions.
Yeah. So not an easy group, but still, I think it's great to see them finally get in. It's funny because I'm used to Canadian women's team doing great and our Canadian men's team doing awful. So it's funny how it's the flip reverse with Portugal. But yeah, it's great for the girls and the coaching staff. Congratulations to them. A few sporting players on the team, several former sporting players on the team. So congrats. Good to see. It's good to see the women's game growing steadily, especially the last couple of years. So let's keep it going and see what we can do. We've qualified for 2 Euros in a row now. So hopefully this starts a cycle of we just kind of keep coming to these tournaments and just getting better and slowly getting experience.
Yeah, most definitely. Just before we move on as well, Sporting released a statement on the child that has been hit by a flare.
Oh, the club. This is breaking. Then this is brand new.
Yeah, so I'll read it out,
folks.
It's it's the second time in the space of a month children have been affected by the misuse of pyrotechnics. It's critical for the sport and the majority of supporters who travel to their club alone or with their family. And then it says continued. After being assisted at the scene, the child was taken to hospital and was assisted in an ambulance after being hit in the head with a pyrotechnic device. So yeah, whether it happened or not, again, people are saying it didn't. I don't know, but I'm sure that will be a new story to keep updating. So keep an eye on the Sporting160EN Twitter page for updates.
Like anything with this club, we'll never really know what happened. We'll never really find out, will we?
Probably not. It's obviously it's perfect for their narrative, right?
Oh,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I worked for an MLS team, right? I know that there are safe ways to do pyro, right? And if you coordinate it and you set it up and you have specific zones and then you have discard areas, you can do it safely.
It happens in Germany all the time.
When you just have a blanket policy of we're just going to pretend like it's not real, it doesn't exist, people sneak it in and then it ends up getting used in unsafe circumstances. So it's like people are going to use them. People do use them. Just allow them to use it safely, because if you don't, they're just going to use it potentially unsafely.
Yeah, so it happens. You have a European example, not even just an MLS example, right? Like
Germany.
Germany does it with like very little issue. So you have, it's not like you don't have like places you can turn to figure out a solution. They're very close to you in some circumstances. So it's not like this is a completely impossible task. It's not like you're climbing Mount Everest. Like we're asking you to go up the hill. We're not asking you to climb the mountain. They're making it so much more difficult than it needs to be. And you're right. There's safe sections to do it. Like teams will go and they will go out of their way and they will say, okay, we're going to allow it. Here's where you can do it. Here's the rules. Here's what you can do. Here's what you can't do. Like that's all they need to do.
Yeah, most definitely. And before we wrap up, we've got modalities news. Chris, did you want to take that one?
The hockey team lost today for the Champions League, so they are 2-1, 3 games played.
Yeah.
And then also
handball, no?
Yeah, handball. I think they won yet again for European League, but they had already clinched second place.
They're now playing to avoid like the Sharks in the next round. Essentially, they're just playing for position now.
So actually, I think we won the group, right? We finished first in the group.
I think so.
So
yeah,
I mean that's solid. And then that was. I mean, I wasn't really tuned in remotely that to be honest this past weekend.
Futsal, Eric.
Futsal won like 10-0, but I also don't think there was that many either.
No.
But
Eric's not going to be with Sporting anymore. He signed with Barcelona.
That's the other one. There's been rumors of Eric to Barcelona for months now. Now they're saying it's official. I mean, it's not going to be official till the end of the season, but it's looking more and more like #Renova Eric is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, Record have specifically stated that's what the Spanish press have said. So Record's still out on the fence, it seems like. So
we haven't had any confirmation from any Portuguese.
No, it's always been foreign journals that have said it from the beginning, to be fair.
Yeah, so until we get a concrete report from...
But, I mean, they're going to offer him probably double the salary.
So
he'll make more money. He'll make more
from
money.
What I heard, he's on $3,000 a week here at Sporting. Barcelona are going to offer him 30 grand. So
a week.
Yeah. So
it's just
no brainer.
Rice. I mean, take the money and run, kid. Like I'd take it. If he doesn't want it, I'll gladly suit up. If Barcelona still has any money, by the way, because they're in their own weird debacle financially. They're in the Europa League, so that doesn't help their financial situation.
Yeah.
That's already dire.
Cool. So is that it for Modalidades news?
Yeah, slow news week for Modalidades.
Cool. Before we wrap up, I am once again inviting you to join our giveaway. Literally, to win a free Sporting shirt, it's free. You don't have to do anything apart from subscribe to us and reply to this pinned tweet here. We'll put the link in the description as well. So just make sure you're in with a chance to win a free shirt. Like I said, we'll cover delivery if you're outside of Portugal as well, and also everything else. There's also terms and conditions in the replies below, so make sure you check that out. And also check out the Sporting page, our page in general on YouTube. We've been putting out some content. Did a video on Wednesday, which was why did Ilori's career go so downhill?
Start a new series, I like that.
Yeah, what happened to that wonder kid? We'll start off a new series because there's going to be a lot of them that we could do.
We got a few. I added some to our list, Sam. A couple now. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy existed.
Yeah, and before that, there was all the youngsters to debut under Ruben Amorim, and before that, it was how Coates became a Sporting legend. I mean, I'm biased because I did all of them videos, but please check them out because I think they're very good.
I like
very good watches.
We have some cool stuff. We have some cool stuff in the pipeline, though. So do take a subscribe. We want to do, especially when the off season kind of hits. We're going to be light on content, so you'll probably see some fun stuff like kit rankings and all-time 11s and some cool stuff. So do subscribe. We're less than 150 away. We're almost there. We're making the slow crawl. So do subscribe. It means a lot to us, and it's free. It costs you nothing.
Exactly, and you could win a chance of getting a free shirt. Was it €80 for free, pretty much?
And if you're from outside of Portugal and you win that, you know what they charge at Logeverde for shipping. We're paying some money for that. Yeah, exactly. The shipping's almost as much as the shirt.
The competition is free to everyone but us. So,
yeah, literally. Do subscribe. It's a good time.
Yeah, make sure you enter because you could have a chance to win it. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, James, for that as well.
Thanks, James.
We'll wrap it up there for now. Make sure you follow the guys. Follow Richard on Twitter here. Also follow Chris on Twitter here. You've got myself as well. And Mr. Danny Saldana as well. Steph doesn't have social media, but shout out to Steph anyway. Also make sure to follow us on TikTok, Sporting160_EN. Same with YouTube, same with Twitter, and Instagram, Spotify, Soundcloud, all of your good streaming services. You can find us there as well. But again, guys, thank you for watching and peace.